Good morning. This is Bill from Auto Europa Naples on a muggy, unpleasant Tuesday morning. We've had a couple of days of heat and humidity. It sucks. But the good news is it's supposed to get a little bit cooler tomorrow, thank God. So, one more day of suffering and it's over. I don't know what it is with the weather this year. It's just doing what it does to piss me off. Today I have this Jeep. This is a 2017 Jeep Renegade Latitude. The first thing I'm going to say is I don't think they built this car for me. I think Fiat and Chrysler definitely did not have a guy like me in mind when they built this thing. Now, I don't even like regular Jeeps. Not really. I mean, I get them. I understand to a certain extent, I understand what people are getting into when they get into the Wranglers and such. There is a certain purpose to them. But this car, this truck, this crossover, whatever you want to call it, this thing is sort of designed to not just hearken to that Jeep, to not just use that company identity of the Wrangler to sell more cars. And surely this will outsell the Wrangler. But it absolutely clubs you over the head with its Jeepness, to the point that I just think it's offensive. I mean, give a guy a break. For the love of God, we get it. It's a Jeep. Or at least it's got a Jeep badge on it. You don't have to keep clubbing us to death with it. But anyway, we'll get into that. It's a weird-looking vehicle. Obviously, it does have that vertical, 7-slat grille, which is very Jeep-like. The stuff that Jeep puts in it, or Chrysler, or Fiat, or whatever the hell they are now, they call them Easter eggs. And what they mean by Easter eggs, God, this is so dumb. And we have planes. We're in the wrong runway pattern again. So I've got airplanes droning again, and also a Scout. So there he is, ever diligent, waiting patiently. One of these days, but I'm ready for him. I told you, I'm going down fighting. I'm not going to live in terror of these birds anymore. Anyway, Fiat Chrysler built this thing. God, right overhead. For the love of God, turn left. The ocean's the other way. Anyway, Jeep, forgive me. I'm going on like 2 or 3 days of sleep deprivation. I'm going to muddle through this video, but it's going to be marginally incoherent. Not sort of unlike the vehicle that I'm doing today, but anyway, so Jeep and Chrysler, Fiat, whoever they are, they built this thing to appeal to people who like the idea of Jeeps, but don't necessarily want a big, solid axle, highway washing board. They want something that's a little more practical. And they came up with this. And, you see that, again, the vertical grill with the Sarge eyes, the Easter eggs, they call it. I was getting into that. All right, so the Easter eggs. Those are these little Jeep cues that they've planted all around this vehicle to have you find and realize that you're driving a Jeep. And we'll get into some of those Easter eggs as we go. I think they're more like hand grenades, the way they're designed to go off, because you really can't miss them. Anyway, it's a weird-looking vehicle. I mean, it's sort of tall and boxy and strange-looking, which it turns out is fine, because the other vehicles in its class are also pretty weird-looking. It actually shares a platform with that Fiat 500 XL, which is weird-looking. The Nissan Juke, those people might buy one of these, and that's a pretty strange-looking piece. And anyway, there's a bunch of cars and crossovers in this class that are just strange. There's our detailer. He's now in a Volvo wagon. I mean, there is just nothing more ridiculous than a backwoods redneck, inbred guy like him driving a Volvo wagon. I mean, he's going to end up with some sort of redneck librarian if he keeps it up. But I have to say I approve. Of all the retarded cars that he's driven so far, probably the Volvo wagon is my favorite. I bought that one for me, and I let him have it out of the kindness of my heart. And he doesn't really appreciate what he's got there. I keep trying to teach him, but he's, anyway, it doesn't matter. Back to the Jeep. Okay, here's an Easter egg. You see the little X's in the taillights? That's supposed to look like the gas cans on the back of the early Willys, Jeeps that were running around the battlefields of World War II. So you have little fake taillight gas cans on the back. The rest of the Easter eggs, I think, other than the grill, we're going to have to get inside for. But anyway, it's a handsome, chunky design in its own way. I like the wheels on it. I like the white color, the Renegade badge on the side, all the plastic trim and whatnot, designed to make it not rusty after it's in Indiana for 10 years. You know, the fog lights down low, it's got, what does it have up there? The place to put cargo. You know, it does look like a Jeep, and of course that was the plan. So anyway, let's just get into this thing. Let's just do it. All right, so surely there's some way we can remotely release this from here, down here, maybe down here. Oh, I've locked it. Okay, this has keyless system. Okay, so back here you've got pretty decent cargo room. You've got a cover that says Jeep, so it must be one. Underneath that cover, you've got more cargo. Now, I mean, it's very unlikely that you're going to be putting 9mm in here. You're probably going to be putting, like, I don't know, Maybelline and, you know, Estee Lauder products. But anyway, whatever you want to fit in there, you can. Also, there's an inflator and sealant kit. These things don't come with spare tires anymore. I don't know if they didn't hang one of those off the back. That would have been pretty Jeepy. But anyway, it's fine. It's good rear cargo room. You can fold those seats down and get more room. I do like this brown color they've used. I find that kind of appealing. I like the colors in the car a lot. It has a 12-volt outlet if you need to plug in a travel blow dryer, and everything's going to be nice and proper back there. Look at this. Okay, here's an Easter egg. So we've got on the back of the tailgate, you've got the grill from a 1941 Army Jeep looking at you. So as you're loading your stuff, your toy poodles and Gucci purses, you're going to be able to know that this thing harkens back to what Patton drove around in. Little camera there. It's got a little wiper at the back. Very nice. Right. I think I have to press this button to open it. All right, so I've locked it. How do I unlock it? What the hell? Right, let's use these keys. And another airplane, another droning plane. All right, so it's not. Is it? Could we unlock? For the love of God, could we unlock? All right, I mean, how could this? There it is, finally. Okay, back seat. You've got room for 3 people. You've got a floor mat that my detailer installed in his typical haphazard fashion. You've got another outlet down here. Let's see what this one does. That's a 115, so you can have a real proper, salon-style blow dryer out of there. Maybe even a one of those things that goes over the head with the curlers on. You've got this sort of fabric-y, sporty seat. I initially thought this was dirt, but it turns out it's just Jeep logos kind of weirdly faded into the material. You've got an armrest you can pull down when you don't have a middle passenger. There's a couple of cup holders for people, so you can have your Manhattans or what do they call them? Spring Breeze or, cranberry vodkas. A good friend of mine, Chris, who we race with, the guy who doesn't pull his car off the trailer much, he'll drink like 8 cranberry vodkas in an evening. And it just is really strange to me to have a guy who can, drink to that level, sort of frat boy macho level. But he might as well be wearing a dress drinking cranberry vodkas. But anyway, you think he'd go for one of those things is it the Cape Cod? It has at least a little grapefruit in there to add some citrus, but probably doesn't want to get any fruit or vitamin C. Here's another, Easter egg. You've got another one of these 1941 grills. Jeep calls this design philosophy tectonic, which sounds absolutely ridiculous. In fact, it sounds like some sort of a cocktail that Chris might drink. This is interesting. Here's what looks like a cup holder of some sort, but isn't. They, in fact, have a warning on there to not put cups in there. So I'm not sure what you're going to put in there. Maybe the hair dryer, so it's ready to go. But anyway, it's sort of a weird thing. I do like the orangey little thing. It sort of reminds me of Mini Coopers, which I don't really like in Minis, but I like in this Jeep. So that's kind of weird that I like Mini Cooper style by proxy when it's not in a Mini. Anyway, there it is. More Jeep grills, more Jeep stuff. You do have pockets here, so you could actually fit a 9mm or a 357 in there and, be pretty chipper about it. Let's have a quick look under the hood. There's going to be a release down here somewhere. We got the sun coming out. Doesn't matter. I don't know what it is with the lack of sleep, why I'm all of a sudden going through this period of insomnia, but it really isn't making me any more cheerful, and the whiskey definitely isn't helping it. Anyway, in here, this is now, because this is an upmarket, the Latitude thing, it has the 2.4 instead of the smaller 1.6, which they call it Tiger Shark engine. I have no idea why it's called a Tiger Shark. I don't think there's anything tiger or sharky about it, but it is, you know, 4 cylinders, 180 horsepower. It's made into a 9-speed automatic transmission, which to me is getting into the era of ridiculousness. I mean, why not have an 18-speed? Why not go full Peterbilt? Let's just have 18 gears, 2 shift levers. You know, let's really go all out instead of just having 9 forward gears in a car that it just isn't that big to begin with. But anyway, it does. This is 2017 with 19,000 miles, so it all looks new under there. In fact, this car's a friend of mine owns this. He got married to a very nice lady who had bought this car. No surprises on who bought it there. And he doesn't want to make interest payments, so he said, look, take this thing for me and sell it for the love of God. Get me out of it. I'm going to buy her something more macho, which he has done. So anyway, we're trying to sell this for him, and we got to find some taker for it. Anyway, everything nice and mint under there. This has been Florida since new, so there's no rust or weirdness, and I don't know. Looks very Fiat-ish to me. I find those door hood latches to be a little bit strange, the one on each side. Probably meant to hearken to the releases on Jeeps, although it's hard to believe Fiat would have spent the extra money to do that. You know, just because obviously none of the buyers are going to look at that and think, oh my God, I drive a Jeep now. So I don't know, it just must be better for safety or something. But anyway, there it is. Tiger Shark 4-cylinder. Your roof rack. Let's hop in. So, as I pointed out, we do have the 2 keys for this. It does seem to have remote start and a panic button, your anti-rape button. Very, very nice. And foot in the brake, tap, start, stop, and it all fires to life. With sort of a weird buzzy sound, befitting a 4-cylinder. Okay, the instrument cluster has this ridiculous looking mud stuff here in the corner. I mean, I have no idea what that's supposed to be. I think they call it like paint gun splatter or something. To me, it just looks like somebody got really sloppy or started spraying mud around. But again, probably meant to remind you that you're driving a Jeep. You've got automatic headlights over here. You've got more of that tectonic, coppery vent stuff, which I do actually find quite appealing. If you're not sure you're in a Jeep, the mirror tells you you're in a Jeep almost immediately. You look over, there it is. You've got more secret hidden grills over here coming out of this, I don't know what that is. It's got this giant sensor array up there. It looks like something they'd have on a Federation starship, but it does, of course, have a Jeep grill there and probably on the other side. Yes, it does. And what appears to be an auto-dimming mirror. And then some more switches and lights. You've got some pretty intricate looking sun visors here with slide outs. You got a rear view mirror. That's how you know. Actually, for a lady car, I have to say that that's a pretty small makeup mirror. They should make that bigger. Some of these things did come with an open top where you could release it and kind of remove half or almost the whole top of the car. They called it open top freedom, like you would have got in the original 1941 Jeep, except the open top freedom in 1941 kind of left you open to Stuka attack, so it was more of an open top terror type thing. But I guess in this day and age, if you're cruising to Whole Foods, having the open top isn't quite as dangerous. This one doesn't have it, and frankly, that's fine by me. It's probably just something to leak and go weird later on. Here's a very thick, and let me get some air conditioning on. God, it's hot out for a winter's day. Anyway, you got this leather wrapped steering wheel. It's got the coppery thread in it, all very nice. Feels good. You get grip at ease at 10 and 2. There are some kind of shift paddles on the back. I don't know if they really, yeah, they probably are. So at the rear of the steering wheel, there's paddles that probably can bang your way through the 18 gears this car has. It does have multifunction stuff for the cruise control, radio, voice command. You've got another Jeep logo looking at you there. Over here, you got your power windows, your power locks, your mirrors, you know, all nice stuff. Since 1941, they're another reminder that you're in a Jeep, just in case you forgot at some point. And they have been making these things since 1941. We've got a Uconnect system with the Sirius. It is another Jeep logo, by the way, so it's touchscreen and accept. I think we have a camera because it's the Uconnect. We do. There's a little camera, all very nice. Do we have any? We have a compass. So yeah, that's gonna. Your typical Renegade buyer is going to be all over that compass when she goes rock crawling. You know, I don't know who I blame for this Jeep thing with the ladies. I really don't. I mean, one could say it was that original Terminator movie where, what's her face, the blonde girl who was a waitress with iguanas, you know, had the run-in with the Terminator and screwed some guy from the future, and then he got killed. So she had a little future guy in her oven, and she hopped in a Jeep and drove down to Mexico to have, you know, the drug cartels teach him how to wire explosives. And she was in a Jeep. Could I blame that? Sure. But you have to remember Daisy Duke, Catherine Bach, you know, much before that, maybe 10 years before that, driving the Dixie, you know, that Wrangler. Maybe she was the first that got it all in motion. So who knows? But at some point, ladies decided that they love Jeeps, even if they're crap, and they're going to drive them. And they are driving the sales of probably all the Jeep. I mean, I'm sure there's some guys out there who drive Jeeps, but for the most part, they've become as lady-oriented as a Range Rover, and it's just interesting to me. Anyway, you've got your satellite radio, your, you know, media. You can plug shit into it. You've got your Bluetooth on there. You can turn it off. Compass, you can get into your apps. We've got a outside temperature, clock settings. You've got your hazards down here. You got a very nice climate control unit. I have to say this is probably optional because it's quite nice. Dual side with the digital. I actually like that. This is the first thing that I've genuinely found appealing inside this car in terms of how it looks. So that's kind of neat. Down here, look at this. More Easter eggs. I don't know what would go under that. This is probably where the four-wheel drive control would be. So kind of ironic to put a Willys Army Jeep design over the four-wheel drive blockout plate. Here's a USB thing. You've got another outlet here. You've got your shifter that I'm over in the Tiptronic mode. 9 gears. Did I already say that? 9 gears. More of that copper stuff. Also around the whatever the hell it is, the center console. Down in here, you've got more USBs and a little spot. You could put maybe some sort of a Lady Smith in there, I guess. All very nice. You've got a glove box with some books, denim-y looking, tough, you know, I don't know. Owner's manual. Let's go for a spin. Visibility, I'm not sure about. From my head forward, it's fantastic. I mean, you've got a ton of visibility. But when I start going to the back, it gets a little bit more sealed off. You've got those weird little quarter windows up there that you can kind of see out of, but not really. So anyway, you do have a camera, but visibility is mixed. That's the best way I could put it. They do say that the four-wheel drive versions of these things are fairly capable off-roaders, so I'm sure when your tire pressure low, oh, for the love of God, I'll get that when I'm back. Anyway, I'm sure, you know, when you're making your way over parking blocks in the Home Depot or Whole Foods parking lot, that can be important. You got coolant temp. We got a lot of gauges, trans temp. You know, your average Renegade buyers definitely want to go to the transmission and oil temp. Yeah, 26, that's low. Coolant temp. Anyway, it's nice it's got all these gauges. There we go. All right, I'm going to test. I still don't believe this thing could have 9 gears. So we're in manual mode. There's 2, so I've downshifted. 3, 4, 5. That's stopping me at 5, probably because we're not going fast enough. Maybe it only has 5 gears. We'll see. Maybe it's just the four-wheel drives with 9. We'll find out in a minute when I hammer it. The steering, look at that, the roosters, there they are. Oh, those guys look skinny. They're probably kicked out by the big angry rooster that scares me, but look at those things. Man, they'll come flying at your face in 10 seconds. Thank God I'm inside a tough Jeep like this one. Definitely won't be able to get through, but if I was open top living in terror, it would be like going through, Black Hawk Down in Somalia. Those things would be flying through the roof coming at me. All right, so anyway, we're sitting here at the red light. We're in manual. I'm in one. What can I talk about while we're sitting here? I really don't have any. I mean, we've got more of those weird Jeep stains in the seats, big clunky shifter. What can I talk? Well, we've got stuff coming up. We got that 140 diesel. I'm going to have that coming up soon. I'm excited about that car. Got another great town car recently. We got a NC. I can't call it a Miata, or Robert will get pissed off at me because it's not a Miata, an NC. They took that name off it. Still in one. All right, so. Oh boy. Okay, there's two. There's three. We could get all the way to 9, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, we're going up again. 6, 7, 8. And it won't go into 9 because, again, I don't know if I'm not going fast enough. Maybe it is just an 8-speed. I'm pretty sure it's 9. Anyway, 9 gears. I mean, come on. For the love of God, can we draw the line somewhere? Okay, quick driving impression. Steering, and it feels pretty good. It's got a nice on-center feel to it. There's a weight to it. We've got morons here pulling in front of us. The brake, and God, that's a buzzy sound. From what I read about these, and obviously I read a couple of reviews of them, they're not that fast, but I guess that doesn't matter much either to the people driving them. But anyway, it drives fine. It drives nice. You have a, sort of a pleasant seating position. I don't feel the seats are incredibly comfortable, but they're adequate. And I guess if your idea is to project an image of Jeepness, then this will do the job. If you're sort of young, cute, blonde, sunglasses, maybe a visor with, Titleist or something on the front of it, you're going to look proper driving this thing around, especially if you're going to a, nature store, yoga studio. Otherwise, I mean, if you're, a tough macho guy, this probably isn't going to be for you. You could do some rock climbing in the Trailhawk edition, but for the love of God, why? It just doesn't make any sense. So anyway, look, I know I'm rambling on. It's partially the sleep deprivation, partially all the whiskey I took in before I started work today. So I'm going to stop there. What we have is this 2017 Jeep Renegade Latitude. It has umpteen reminders that you're in a Jeep. They absolutely club you over the head with it. So if that's your thing, you'll be happy. It's a nice car. I mean, the air conditioning's cold. It's got room inside. It's good transportation. It's not, I'll give them that. Okay, here we go. It's not the same cookie cutter design as everything else. I mean, they did manage to make it look different, and I have to give them some marginal credit for that. It could just look like everything else does, and it doesn't. So you do get a bit of an identity in this thing, and that's worth something. This will be up on our website for sale, aenaples.com. I can't imagine you having an interest at this point after my fantastic sales pitch, but if you do, aenaples.com, 239-298-8000, and we really appreciate you having a look today. We'll see you with the next one. Take care.